Now, ride-hailing service Bolt has raised more than $700 million, increasing the company's valuation to more than $5.5 billion. Now, Bolt will use those funds to accelerate the expansion of its existing mobility and delivery products across its African and European markets. These include investments towards enhancing safety features on the platform for drivers and riders, as well as driver and courier empowerment. Now, Bolt will also use the funds to boost its new under 15-minute grocery delivery service called Bolt Market that was recently launched in Europe. Well, joining us with more insights into the firm's African plans is Paddy Patridge. He is Bolt's Regional Director for Africa and the Middle East. Great to have you with us today, Mr. Patridge. Now, this is certainly quite a significant capital injection for the firm. One, you say, as we mentioned, will be used to accelerate the expansion of all your services, not just mobility, but also delivery products in a number of African markets, we expect. So give us a sense, what will that expansion look like? Where specifically will we see you channel those investments in the coming year?
Hi, Uche. Great to be here. Thanks for having me on. As you say, I mean, we're looking to use this very significant capital raise to expand both geographically within our core regions of Europe and Africa, and then also to expand some of our newer verticals. So as you mentioned, we recently launched car sharing. We also recently launched Bolt Market, our 15-minute grocery delivery service. Both of these have been launched in Europe. And certainly over the next sort of 6 months or so, the core focus is expanding further in Europe. But certainly we'd be looking to bring Bolt Market to Africa next year. I think in terms of sort of how we plan to use the funds for expansion within Africa, we recently in this year launched Bolt Food in several markets, so Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana. We've already been up and running in South Africa, and we're very much looking to build out that service within the geographies we've launched and potentially into new markets. Our ride-hailing service, we're currently in 7 markets in Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, Tanzania, Kenya, Uganda, and Tunisia. And we're very much looking to expand within these markets. So, I mean, our strategy is very much, it's not just to go into the capital city, it's very much to expand into all the cities we believe are viable. So in Nigeria, for example, we're in close to 30 cities, and that's our strategy, and we want to continue doing that. Similarly, we are looking at a number of new markets within Africa, within North Africa, and within the Middle East. So markets where we believe there's a big opportunity in terms of high urban density, high smartphone penetration, an opportunity in terms of being able to improve mobility and food delivery in these markets. So yeah, you'll definitely see us launching a few new markets, hopefully over the next sort of 6 to 9 months.
All right. Well, let's delve further into that. Looking at recent comments from your CEO, he says in the last 18 months, Bolt has become a very different company. You're also looking to fashion yourself as a super app with multiple services touching different industries going forward. So give us a sense of how we will see this impact your current model, especially on the continent going forward.
Yeah, so I mean, our core business, and I mean, it's still obviously our largest business by volumes by some way, is our ride-hailing business. So I mean, that's in Europe, it's primarily cars. In Africa, it's cars, motorbikes, and three-wheelers. Particularly motorbikes is big business for us in East Africa, and that's been our core business. Our mission generally is to provide sort of the most efficient and most affordable mode of transport for the different types of trips you would want to do on a day-to-day basis. And obviously cars, potentially motorbikes, only solves part of that problem. So we are looking, and in Europe, for example, we've become the largest micro-mobility player this year. We're looking to find more economical modes of transport for those short trips that you can be taking individually. So, I mean, as I say, scooters, bicycles, those forms of transport. We're also looking to find more affordable solutions for the longer trips, hence why we've launched the car sharing service in Europe. So these are the ways we're trying to cover the mobility topic. And then we're also, as I say, trying to build out the service as a one-stop shop, not just for mobility, but also for delivery. So food delivery, and then delivery of sort of core groceries under 15 minutes. And so we want this to be the single sort of the one-stop solution for mobility and for delivery. In Africa, I think some of these solutions will take a little bit more time to be rolling out in our markets. At the moment, we have, as I mentioned earlier, we have the ride hailing and the food delivery. But I'd very much like to roll out some of the micro-mobility solutions in certain areas of some of our markets, and similarly the Bolt Market service as well next year in some of the markets where we've seen highest adoption of ride hailing and of food delivery. So I think, I mean, certainly going into next year, I think we can start seeing that vision of being a one-stop shop for mobility and delivery start to really materialize in Africa as well as we've been able to do in Europe.
Right. We're certainly keen to see what that will look like. But looking at the company's bottom line going forward, we know Bolt was hit hard with a severe drop in revenues early in the COVID-19 pandemic. But you say now you're experiencing hypergrowth in the past year, growing your customer base to 75 million globally. So what did that rebound look like for you? How did it impact the business moving forward?
Yeah, so I mean, I think obviously, like pretty much all businesses globally, it had a pretty material impact. I think we were quite lucky in that, for a lot of our regions, the impact was quite short term. Particularly, I think if we look in Africa, there was a very painful month or two where volumes dropped materially, but then in several of our markets, we were actually able to rebound better than pre-COVID, actually fairly quickly. So markets like Ghana, we were surpassing our pre-COVID levels within sort of 3-4 months of the worst of the COVID situation. Similarly, in markets like Tanzania, we saw very sustained strong growth. And even in markets that have been worse hit and had tighter restrictions like South Africa and Kenya, I mean, we're still beyond our pre-COVID levels. And then in Europe and also in Africa, I mean, I think something we really tried to do to mitigate the impact of COVID was to launch and invest more in verticals that were more sort of COVID resilient. So particularly around things like food delivery, and now obviously the Bolt Market, so services that have actually had a big growth during COVID. So what it means is, as a business, I mean, we've actually, aside from that fairly intense but fairly brief dip, we've actually had fairly good growth. And then what I think was also great for Bolt is, whereas a lot of companies had to lay off a lot of employees, unfortunately, thankfully in Bolt's case we didn't. So we made sure there were no layoffs. And instead, I mean, what you've probably seen is we're now actually in a phase where we're recruiting very aggressively. I think we have around 500 new positions out, looking for people to join the Bolt journey. So I think, yeah, as a business, we've proven to be pretty resilient in the face of COVID.
Well, we do have to leave it there, but thank you so much, Mr. Patridge, for giving us your insight into the company there. That was Paddy Patridge, Bolt's Regional Director for Africa and Middle East.